With these price hikes that RB Leipzig are going to introduce for the new season, how many microphones can I buy for that? We don't know, but we're definitely going to talk about this later. Richard, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, skipping 4 home games and you can afford a new mic.
Can't get tickets anyway. All those no-shows. And I'm just a little bit annoyed about the fact that they talk about loyalty, but only loyalty if you attend 16 out of 17 games next year, and then you get a 50% discount on the increase. Come on, you cannot be serious, RB Leipzig. I'm not saying the word that comes out of a bull.
So
I hope he knows all the lyrics to the chant. Otherwise, he'll end up in Sector D.
Yeah, I think he can afford
it. Not premium seats yet, mate.
Premium economy.
And welcome to RBLE Global Tracks, Leipzig's fresh RB Leipzig podcast in English. It's brought to you by Richard and Mario, and amongst us, we are still season ticket holders, we are passionate supporters, and not very neutral local pundits. Both of us have been following Leipzig football since our childhood days. So, if you want to hear about RB Leipzig, capture the mood of the fans in the city, and if you want to go beyond numbers and statistics, you are in the right place. We're delighted to welcome you on board. Let's go. Auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs. Good evening, Richard. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Mario. Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. Your sound is so much better, and you look so much better if you're not climbed and stuck in a cupboard in a front.
I'm sorry. So yeah, somebody's ears.
Good to be back.
Yes, it actually sounds much better. The other microphone is just for traveling, but maybe it needs an alternative one of these days. You never know. But with these price hikes that RB Leipzig are going to introduce for the new season, how many microphones can I buy for that? We don't know, but we're definitely going to talk about this later. Richard, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, skipping 4 home games and you can afford a new mic.
Can't get tickets anyway. All those no-shows.
Yeah, of course, we take a look back to our victorious performance on Saturday, 4-1 win at SC Freiburg. You teased it already. We have to talk about this price hike, increasing prices for season tickets and daily tickets, daytime, week tickets, whatsoever. And we're going to take a look forward to our next encounter versus Ralf Hasenhüttl and company.
Ralf Hasenhüttl is coming to town. Anyways, before we start, Richard, I like to give a shout out to Kelsey, and please forgive me if I mispronounce that name. Kelsey's coming to us from England. I think it's the 4th time that Kelsey's going to be here, and it's going to be the first RB Leipzig game that Kelsey's going to see, and he's also wearing an N'Golo Openda shirt, so that's a very good selection. Just sending out a very warm welcome. Hope you enjoy the match. And please be a lucky charm and give us a 3 points. Don't jinx it, please. So a very welcome to Kelsey. So let's start with our first item for today, which is Saturday's match. Last Saturday match at Freiburg. And I must admit, one of my takeaways from that game is that I should be listening to you much more often, because here's what you said.
And I think, and I'm pretty sure that Marco Rose will have the correct plan here. I'm confident that we will get away with a 2-1 win on Saturday afternoon.
A 2-1 win, Richard. Very modest. And I thought you were optimistic.
No, I'm humble and optimistic.
So, of course, it was a 4-1 win. Was it a 4-1 win? 4-1 win. It was such a long time ago. And I remember when I was watching the game in the second minute when RB Leipzig took the lead, that calmed me down immensely, I must admit. So, beautiful performance. But there are a couple of things we need to talk about, and one of them is Goal Bender. He doesn't only score goals, he struck twice. He can also provide great assists. So in all 4 goals, he had his participation. So he was involved, which was excellent. And a key takeaway from that is, again, just trust the process. Isn't that what you always say?
Yeah.
He's going to score. Even if there are some games where he doesn't score, he will score. And you know who else scored? Good old Šeško. It was beautiful to watch. It was really solid. And I was concerned that we didn't have enough strikers, but if the 2 of them keep hitting the back of the net, we don't need more strikers, do we?
Of course, no, we don't need more strikers, and especially that 4th goal was so well played from the scratch. Yeah, nice passes along the right sideline, and then Openda with his speed. Oh, excuse me, Goal Panda is his name actually. This is speed down to the goal line, and it was beautiful cross to Šeško, and it wasn't that hard to put that one into the back of the net. Even I could have done it. So if you're outplaying your plan that well, it isn't that important who scores in the end, who is in the first row.
That's great. Yeah. Another thing I'd like to talk about is that I think both of us had that Demirovic moment. That when that penalty was awarded to SC Freiburg and Griffo was on the bench, so he couldn't take it. I think he's the usually penalty taker for Freiburg. And Höhler stepped up to the plate. And it's a guy we really like anyway. And he actually hit the crossbar pretty much the same way that Demirovic did in the DFB Pokal final in 2022. And I did remember you were jumping really high at that point. This time you didn't, but the both of us, I think, we felt that this was exactly the same scene. It was just at Freiburg, wasn't it?
Of course, it was. On top of that, it was the same camera angle, and
You're right.
Yeah, and the away supporter or the RB Leipzig supporter was on that same side of the pitch, around the pitch, and yeah, I pretty much felt the same in the same moment. We sat next to each other, watched this game on TV. And we both, I think we both said nearly simultaneously, "Hey, it was like Demirovic in the cup final." And of course, yeah, it was nice for us that this one didn't went in. And I've had some fun facts, some fun stat to this topic.
Oh no, really?
Pete is not really known as a penalty killer. Do you remember when the last penalty he faced, he actually saved? And no penalties when the shooter missed, but that one he saved. You know when the last one was?
See, the only last one that I remember where another player missed was the cup final that we just talked about. But actually saving a penalty, I must admit, I don't remember.
Okay, me neither. But I looked it up, and you smart ass. And the last penalty he saved was back in 2017 in the match at Mönchengladbach. Yeah, pre-COVID times back then, against Torgan Hazard. And since then, he faced 20 and 18 went in and 2 missed. And one of those misses was on Saturday.
Okay, so I guess we were really lucky. 2017, I don't even remember that penalty, to be honest. Last penalty that goalie from RB Leipzig kind of saved, that was, for me, it was Blaswich versus Gladbach. But that was even in this season, it was last season.
Maybe our new goalkeeper who will join us in summer is some like more a penalty killer.
Another topic to discuss at some other time. But yeah, beautiful performance at Freiburg. And we edged past the humble bees, Borussia Dortmund, because they dropped points. So thank you, VfB Stuttgart. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic. And this one is getting me a little bit hot under the collar, I must admit. But RB Leipzig has introduced new pricing structures and new terms and conditions for season ticket holders for next season. And there are some major changes that we just like to mention. The newest change we've got here is an introduction of a minimum number of games that a season ticket holder has to actually attend or to assign his ticket to somebody who will use it. And that's going to be 10 games out of 17. And otherwise, the consequence is that they lose their season ticket. RB Leipzig will then cancel their contract, i.e. season ticket, which is actually a subscription service, so to speak. And I think we can all live with that. But the funny thing is, and the unusual thing is, they introduced this rule for next season, and they will contact current season ticket holders, and they contact those who have not attended 10 home matches or assigned it to a guest. And I think they will cancel their tickets for next year, which I think is a bit iffy or tricky. If you signed up for a season ticket, you paid for it because you got to pay for it in advance. And then towards the end of the season, terms and conditions change. They refer to terms and conditions which are published on the website. And hello, RB Leipzig. These are last year's terms and conditions, which were introduced in July last year. And they do not specifically point out any of these clauses that you now introduced. And I'm sorry, you cannot be serious about that. This is not really 100% professional. I know there might be a get out clause somewhere where it vaguely is mentioned that you can use it, but it's probably very debatable. But just as besides that, the background to why they're doing this is quite something that I think both of us can really understand. They claim there is an unspecified number of season ticket holders who paid their tickets and are not using them on a regular basis, using them maybe for less than 10 games, i.e. just maybe sticking to the top games where nobody gets any tickets in free sale, so to speak. And those tickets, unused tickets, have two effects. First of all, when people try to get tickets for games in free sale, they block those seats because they're holding their season tickets. So the impression is that for an upcoming game, you may not get tickets in free sale. But then when you watch the match on TV, you see a lot of gaps. And you kind of wonder if you missed out on that. So that's one reason behind. So they're trying to manage it through that way. And I think both of us can really understand that. The next item that they introduce is actually something really positive. They like to extend the home supporters section. Right now, it consists of 11,000 stands, so to speak. So 11,000 people can actually stand during the game. And they are all located in Sector B, which is behind the goal, one of the goals. And they're all located in the lower tier. Now, actually, in the upper tier, the two corners, there are 4 blocks with seats. And they will now be added to this fan home support, fan block, as we say in German, which has a positive effect on season tickets holder in these sections because their tickets are actually getting cheaper. So I think that is a good move, quite positive. Now, the move that really gets me going, because I am affected by that as well, are all those season ticket holders in Sector D. Now, they are at the opposite end, behind the other goal. There are all seats in the lower tier because there is no upper tier. Oh, that's the way the stadium was constructed. And this section is also very close to the away supporters section. So sometimes that can be very noisy. Sometimes it's very quiet because a lot of people boycott RB Leipzig games and do not travel out. Hello, SC Freiburg. And what happened here is there are extreme price hikes for adult tickets with up to 60%, which is a lot, which is actually a lot, and for the same seat. Now, the way RB Leipzig is trying to explain this is they like to harmonize pricing structure of these seats on the lower tier with other seats on the lower tier, which are at the sidelines. And of course, these are premium. So the new Sector D seats will also be premium next year. And they just like to align this pricing structure. That means those seats in Sector D were cheaper. The price has to go up. But 60%, guys, it's very steep. That's a steep rise. But they try to throw a little carrot there because if you are okay with the 60% rise and you pay that for the next season, and you attend 16 out of 17 home matches next season, you will get a 50% discount of this price hike. So you only pay 30% more. But there may be a potential price hike for the season tickets for the season after. So bear that in mind. I think that these are a lot of hoops to get through. And, well, I got an idea why they're doing this. But Richard, I know we discussed this before. Why do you think RB Leipzig are taking those extraordinary steps to us fans and highly valued customers?
Yeah, of course, for one reason, and you started with that point. So yeah, there are gaps, huge gaps in every home game, and then people are snickering in the stands and they're like, now you look, all those 44,000 or 45,000, and then midway through the second half, usually the spectators number, the attendance is revealed, and mostly around 44, 45,000, and you look at each other and say, okay, this is at best like 40,000, maybe lower.
At best. Usually I think it's even lower.
Yeah. And it's not good for
just add something? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you see these gaps, and in Sector D, it displays these three letters, R, B, L. And if these shine through, a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, right. A lot of people are missing. And, and this section is well seen on the television. And of course, you're trying to sell a product. You are part of the product. It's a product of Bundesliga, and you're trying to sell your own business, your own product. So the RBL home games is a product, is an item of this league and in this league. So if you want to be attractive and want to make the league more attractive, so we talked about the sales manager who is trying to sell Bundesliga matches, Darmstadt versus Heidenheim in the Asia Pacific market. You have to emphasis that this is a very high value item, a very high value product, and you won't come up with half-filled stadiums to make someone believe it's actually really a valuable product. So you have to, you have to increase this the attendance, the number of people actually are in the stadium. And I do understand that move, because now these Sector D price level is, you mentioned it, equivalent to the other seats in the lower tier. And sometimes when I attend those games with my family, we usually buy tickets for the Sector A upper tier or Sector B, Sector C upper tier. And those seats are actually slightly more expensive than in Sector D. So I am willing to pay more and sitting farther away from the pitch. So why should I do that if I could make if it would be possible for me to buy seats actually in the D sector? But usually this is not, because there are so many season tickets sold for this section of the stadium. Then neither in the first market, in the official ticket store, nor in the second market, in the ticket Börse, is it possible to buy 4 connected seats, or at least 2 seats in 2 different rows behind each other to join the game. And really, it is not an opportunity for me buying like 4 tickets somewhere in the stadium and then attend a game with my family and explaining to my kids, maybe we have to move shortly before the game begins because actually we don't have 4 connected seats or something like that. This is very, very unattractive for me as a family father. So I think this move will show a result rather sooner than later, that the RBL letters won't be seen, at least in that clearance as you can see it now every game and the next season.
I got 2 points to that. Okay. Sorry, when you're done.
Yeah, no, come on. It's your turn. I have to drink a little bit from my sponsor, water. And
if you look at the price and you compare it with other clubs in the Bundesliga, it's really interesting because it's hit and miss. the new pricing for Sector D, which is sort of then a mid-level pricing if you compare. It's not the highest, not the lowest. It's right in the middle, pretty much.
It's premium economy.
But those stupid. But those ticket prices are more expensive than the most expensive standard seats pricing or standard seats at for season tickets at Leverkusen or Wolfsburg, for example. But it is in line pretty much with Borussia Dortmund, 1. FC Köln, Bayern München, for example. And also the introduction of a minimum number of games to be attended, around 10. That's similar to what Bayern München has introduced. They don't even allow you to put it up for purchase in the second market, like you called it, in the Bayern München platform. That doesn't count, while over here it still does. So in that sense, I can kind of understand it, and it makes the seats more of a premium product. So I get that. But I think you also have to take into account the buying power of the fans, i.e. customers, because Leipzig has the lowest buying power in the Bundesliga. They definitely do. So, and if you look at the overall pricing, I think we're pretty much in the top 4, top 5 of the Bundesliga. We're on Champions League level here in the Bundesliga. So that really doesn't match. But coming back to the situation that affects me as well. In Sector D was introduced, and I think that was dating back to the times of the second Bundesliga around 2014, 2015, as a second home support section. So even today, when you sit there, you're not allowed to wear any gear of any opposing or other teams, and you're also not allowed to cheer for them. So you got to support the home team. And therefore, the introduction prices were quite low. I think we started quite low. That's when I signed up in 2015. That was the second season of the second Bundesliga. Do you like add something?
Yeah, because do you remember why this was introduced?
No, but I think you do.
Yeah, in my opinion, it has something to do with the reconstruction of the B sector when the seats were removed. So that was like a goodie from RBL to all those fans who want to support the club, who feel like more a supporter section goer, but don't want or maybe are not able to stand for the whole 90 minutes.
I'm not sure, because the seats were removed a couple of years after that. But it came in handy, to be honest.
I will look this up.
Yeah, because we still had those blue and turquoise seats. Remember? The Hallenbad atmosphere. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that there's quite a large number of RBL supporters who've been holding season tickets in this section for quite a long time. 8 years, 9 years. So next year I'm going into my 10th year. And that's with a club who's going to be on the 18th of May, 15. And these fans can be or are loyal fans. Now, I'm not saying that there are people who are not using their season, that there are not people who don't use their season tickets often enough, and maybe even not even for 10 games. I also know of people who are not even sitting in those seats. They're standing upstairs where all the amenities are to be closer to beer, I suppose. But having said that, even if you bear in mind that supposedly no-show rate, I think it's smoke and mirror by RB Leipzig. It's just a deflection, because at the end of the day, it is a business decision. It's a pricing exercise. I think somebody looked at it, and people who know what they're talking about, and they thought to themselves, how can we get more money out of this section? And that's what they do. They just simply turn it into more of a premium seat. You got a better view in the sense of that you're closer to the pitch. And I think, like you said it, for 45 minutes, you have a great view because everything is close. But for the other 45 minutes, you need binoculars maybe, because everything's happening on the other side of the pitch. In most cases, if RB Leipzig attacks onto their home crowd in the second half. So my argument here is it's not really a premium seat, but if I compare it to Borussia Dortmund, 1. FC Köln, it is on a similar price level. So you could go for that. My quarrel is, bloody hell, I've been there for 9 years. I've paid you quite a bit of money in all these 9 years. And if you look at the attendance, my season ticket will be, out of 17 games, will be in use on 16 games. Only one time I put it up for resale versus Mainz, and guess what? Nobody wanted it, which is on my risk because I paid that money. And my crawl is, why the heck are you hitting me with a 60% price hike? And just like that, not even really communicating it directly through your website, because if you look through the website, that price hike is not really mentioned. They're just mentioning that it is a little bit higher than proportional increase. Okay, could mean anything. You only find out if you look at the new rates, if you call up that PDF and you look at the pricing structure, and all of a sudden you find out, what did I pay last time and what am I paying now? And then you fall over. And you think, whoa, this is really not good. You could have handled that, RB Leipzig. You could have handled that completely different. I'm okay with the fact, if you look at it as a pricing exercise, as a business thing, generating more profits, that's all fine. You're taking a business decision. It's not personal. So now I'm not a fan. I'm a customer, but not a valued customer, because I would have loved you to send me a direct email, tell me, listen, this is going to happen. This is what we're going to do. We want to do premium seats. But we noticed that you've been a long-standing client. We noticed that you have attended almost every game this season. So here's what we like to offer you. And it could be a couple of things they could have offered. Because right now they're telling us, well, if you don't want to go for that price hike, you can move to a different section. But you can only move to sections at a similar price level, which are at the upper tier. You know, the ones you just talked about in the upper tier. That's like putting people into a little corner of the stadium. Yes, you get a good overview, but you're further away. This could be on the side where the sector D is, or it could be those blocks which are above the current home section behind that goal that I talked about in the beginning, sector B. But I have to apply for it. And by the way, I did. But I would have loved the club to come to me, or the enterprise, the company, come to me and tell me, listen, you may not like that, and you may not want to go for that 60% plus. Here's what we like to offer. We offer you a seat in a different section. This is what we like to offer you there. And alternatively, if you like to stay in Sector D, we're going to have a modest price rise over a couple of years to, at the end, match the rate of those increased prices for those seats in 2-3 years' time. That allows us, or people like me, to gradually get used to this price rise and decide, do I really want to stay there, or do I want to go somewhere else? But right now I feel like it's more the attitude, take it or leave it. And I understand it's a business thing. That's fine. But then RB Leipzig, don't talk to me about loyal fans, or don't talk to me about this emotional connection. It is a business at the end of the day. And I, as a customer, I will decide how much custom I want to give you, or indeed how much I don't want to give you. So that's my take from that. The fan base reacts a little bit also in a different way. There are quite a few people who reacted on Twitter, pretty much in the same way as I did. There's also another podcast called Kundengespräch, which always takes place on a Monday at 8:09, because it's 2009. Sounds great. And that is hosted by on Twitter Space, or X Space. And somebody actually said there, the communication was very poorly. It could have been much better. It is more like, take it or leave it. Here are our terms and conditions. You not really feel like a valued fan or even a customer. You know, we are clients. So I really concur with that. But there are also some reactions of people who are in the Sector B. And what they claim is that Sector D, that's where we are, that Sector D is usually a bit quiet. Well, it's a different section. It's not stands where you're waving flags. You don't shout all the time. You do get involved. But I must admit, sometimes I don't even have Sector B, because the people, the away supporters who are close to us, like, you know, Frankfurt, they're quite loud. Or Bremen, they always party a lot. They're too loud.
Belgrade was really loud.
Belgrade, yeah. They could have shouted insults at us and we wouldn't have understood. So that was quite nice. So that's probably we thought, wow, nice chanting. What I'm trying to say is this decision also splits, and this smoke and mirror and this deflection or as we say in German, Nebelkerze, splits the fan community a little bit. There are thoughts about there's a petition going actually for RBL to stop that. And there's also thoughts about, staging some sort of protest on Saturday where some people in Sector B actually say, well, what kind of protest? We don't hear you anyway. Are you going to sing for 5 minutes? So this doesn't have the right effect. And I'm just a little bit annoyed about the fact that they talk about loyalty, but only loyalty if you attend 16 out of 17 games next year, and then you get a 50% discount on the increase. Come on, you cannot be serious, RB Leipzig. I'm not saying the word.
I'm totally with you at that point. I think they could have handled that way better, way smarter, actually. So let's say they're like, before the seats were removed in the Sector B were 5,000 seats. So I assume the almost equivalent builded Sector D has around 5,000 seats. So I don't know how much season tickets they're sold in Sector D. So let's see an optimistic and say, okay, 4,000 of them are sold to season ticket holders. And if I get those gaps right, you see in nearly every game, I think it's fair to say that usually maybe 1,000 people.
But sorry, so interrupt you. Those gaps are at the sidelines as much as they are in Sector D.
Yeah,
and even a lower tier.
Yeah, but it's that pricing thing that comes up at that point. So obviously it is okay for around 1,000 people paying like 300 and something euros and only attend 6 or 7 games and saying like, hey, okay, maybe so I pay like 40, 50 euros per game and I see Bayern, I see Dortmund, Stuttgart, Bremen, Union.
Yeah, you got a point there.
And I'm fine with that. And if this is your kind of thinking, hey, this is, I don't know, this is not very a social behavior, okay? So if you're a guy who thinks, or maybe a woman, season ticket is not for you. And back to that point, when I wanted to try to explain why I think it could have been an easier way and a very smarter way to handle that for RBL is it would have been easily possible to go to those like 2,500, 3,000 people who are like you and attending nearly every game and saying, okay, you are a very worthy customer for us and you attended like 16 games and we have a little gift for you. So you don't have to pay this 60% uplift, only like maybe 20, 25 or something like that. And if you do the math, if this offer would have been offered to 2,500, 3,000 season ticket holders compared to maybe more gainings from day tickets now to higher prices, and I did that, and I came to the conclusion that would have costed RBL like an something between 150 and 250,000 euros for the whole season. Okay, they got nothing to spare, but it is a multi-million-dollar franchise enterprise, as you said. And I think this budget of the club for the season is like, 300 something like million. Hey, I think this investment, so to speak, of around 200,000 euros would have been good, because this whole protest and shitstorm thing and all those movement it's around in the social media and in the fan forum, that could have been avoided easily, in my opinion.
I agree, and I'm really surprised at 2 things. One thing is the that Red Bull, with the marketing and the global company they communicated so poorly and did not even think about trying to retain people, loyal customers, loyal fans, loyal customers, because they have potentially upset a high number of long-standing fans. And this club is not very old. Like I said, they're going to be 15 years. The other thing that surprised me is a little bit the reaction from Sector D supporters, not everybody, but quite a few, who just tell them, okay, guys, you didn't pay enough money anyway. You were not loud enough anyway. So suit yourself. I would have liked to see a little bit more solidarity there. So the fan base is split, and basically the way I feel now in my situation, I'm a customer. I make a business decision. So if I can't move, and even if I can move, but to the wrong section of the stadium, I will think about it. But I'm definitely not going to pay the 60% increase. Forget it. Just because you upset me so much. In that case, I'd rather pay or get tickets on free sale, maybe for 10 matches a year. And if I can't get to the top matches, well, then I won't. And you sell those to other people. But it has changed something with the relationship to the club, my perception of the club, not in terms of football, but in terms of dealing with the community, the fan community. And it's a lot more distant now. So there you go. Well done, RB Leipzig. Okay, Richard, is it okay to close that subject, or is there anything else you like to add?
No, I think we talked about that enough for now, and let's move on to the sporty part of that podcast.
Introducing our next opponent, their ignorant check.
So, our next opponent is a team we lost to twice this year. What happened?
Yeah, we had one really shitty game in the DFB Pokal and one not that lousy game, but slightly better, which we lost anyway. 1-2 in the league a few weeks later. And, that was the last home win of VfL Wolfsburg.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the last?
Yeah, 25th of November.
Why do we do these things? We make other goalies look great.
Yeah, because
the last home win.
Yeah, we want to be accepted in the league. We're trying to bring some gifts, and it's like if you are an humble and an honest man, you bring gifts. If you're invited to somewhere, okay,
I see.
Maybe it's kind of something to do
out of courtesy, being polite.
Just being polite.
But now they're coming to us, so they should give us gifts.
Yeah, and they will.
Okay.
So, because actually I had pretty much to do at work, so I struggle a little bit to make a really nice Gegner check. Like I was able to do it before the Freiburg match because I had a week off. But obviously the most important change recently in the Wolfsburg squad is their new manager, and this is a quite familiar name. I think everyone out there recognized it. It's good old Ralf Hasenhüttl. Welcome back, and I'm really looking forward. To welcoming him back in the arena. And if he is coming out of the tunnel and stepping on the pitch, I will cheering and I will clap my hands for him definitely. And I think he deserved that.
Yeah, definitely deserved. And the second season he was here was the second Bundesliga season we had. That was when we finished, I think, sixth. And fifth or sixth, we qualified for the Europa League. But the first season was tremendous, wasn't it? And, especially the first home match versus Dortmund. Naby Keita scored the winning goal.
Yeah. And compared to the possibilities Ralf Hasenhüttl had back those days, he's got much more problems to solve with that squad he has in Wolfsburg now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was week after week after week, I was more surprised that Mr. Kovac was still in charge at VfL Wolfsburg because, as I said, the last home win was against us and was back in November. The last win in total in the league was in December. It was a 1-0 away win at Darmstadt. And since then, they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more games. And in addition to that, they had 6 draws. So they had lost, draw, loss, draw, and 3 more losses. And the last loss Kovac had to face was that 1-3 loss at home versus Augsburg. And Augsburg was not good in that game. It was just Wolfsburg were even worse. And after that, Ralf Hasenhüttl was introduced, and he came away with a 2-0 win against Werder Bremen, where Bremen was not good as well, and had the man sent off. I think it was in the first half. So basically, they played against a 10-man Werder Bremen squad for the whole 90 minutes, or even like 60 minutes or something like that. And I thought, maybe he found something. He found a key. But last home game, 1-0 early lead, and then they lost that game to a mediocre Mönchengladbach 1-3. So it's like same old for VfL Wolfsburg. And to be honest, I don't got a player to watch. So if you're watching that game at home on TV or in the stadium and want to look at specifically one of the VfL Wolfsburg stuff, look at Ralf Hasenhüttl. Okay, he's the best thing of this squad. I looked in my notes I had in the Hinrunde, and I had a player to watch, number 23 we were talking about. It was Jonas Wind. He had this very nice start into the season with 8 goals and 1 assist, and every time he scored, VfL Wolfsburg won that game. And so he had 8 goals back then, and now he's 9. So it's like someone just pulled the plug, turned the switch, something happened that this guy doesn't score anymore. And you have Kevin Paredes, also a disappointment, and the only one who might be still in a very solid level is number 21, Joachim Mehle, the Danish defender. So yeah, scoring goals is not hard. But not easy, because scoring goals is never easy in a Bundesliga competition, but it's not hard either. And I'm convinced, as I said last week, that we will get away with a win because our lads are so improved since those 4 minutes at Bochum. Something changed in that game. So we started good in that game, in that Bochum match, in that Bochum away match. We had this goal that was disallowed by Xavi. We had great chances.
I remember,
yeah. The lead that Bochum had was some kind of fluky.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we kept our focus and we created chances a lot. And then the lads rewarded themselves for all the effort they did. And to me, since then, something changed. And as it went also in the last game, I got no really thinking that something might change in that encounter now against Wolfsburg. So yeah, this team is much more stable than it was in the Hinrunde, and I think Marco Rose put this puzzle pretty much together, and all of those players are known from match to match more and more what they are supposed to do with each other, what the coach is wanting them to do. And so yeah, that's the conclusion, and this is why I'm really, really confident. And one last thing I want to mention here is Pete is not the wall. We saw him especially back in the 2019 season, but since he took over the duties between the goalposts, he is 6 wins, 2 draws, and 0 losses. So 8 games, Pete came back. We never lost a game, and he had 4 clean sheets, and he had a save percentage of like 73%. So in every stat, he is way better than Giannis was in his first 20 games. So I think he is back on track to the form he had in earlier days.
But he's still improving, isn't he? He's not there yet, is he?
No, he's not there yet. He's still improving.
Which is encouraging.
And it's sad that you need nearly as much as time as you were out if you come back from injury. So he was out for like 10 months or something. So I guess we have to wait, and I'm looking forward to a nice battle for number 1 when Van der Voort arrives. But this is a different topic. And so, conclusion, I'm confident. I told you why. And I'm really, really confident because Jonas Wind not scoring anymore. And this is why we will come away with a 3-0 win.
Well, I guess I can't argue with you, because in the beginning of the podcast, I said I should listen to you more. That's my key takeaway from last match. You're nodding.
Stick to that.
So
yeah.
I better do that. So who's going to be on the pitch for us? Who's Marco Rose going to send out?
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
Pretty much the same 11 than we saw in the recent weeks. So besides David Raum is out due to a 5th yellow card suspension. By the way, I read that he promised to someone that he will stand the whole 90 minutes. And I think a fan texted him on some social media platform, I don't know, hey, you could come to the B sector. And he responded, he will think about it. So maybe in that thing, I think it was really, really cool. I think it would be the first time we actually see an player of RBL standing in the supporter section. That would be cool. So
I hope he knows all the lyrics to the chant. Otherwise, he'll end up in Sector D.
Yeah, I think he can afford
it. Not premium seats yet, mate.
Premium economy. So, Gulashi, as I said, will be our goalkeeper. Henrichs, Orban, Luke Geber, and Sima Khan as a replacement for the mentioned David Raum. And the rest 6, Schlager Haidara, Xavi Olmo, Shesko, and, of course, Goal Panda.
Wonderful. Keep our fingers crossed. What's your prediction in terms of scoreline?
Yeah, 3-0. 3-0.
3-0. Do you know what? I'm going with 3-0 as well. Because I got a good feeling about this. It's going to be sad for Hasenhüttl, but he's going to get a warm welcome. And he can take that away. Nobody can take away what he accomplished over here with the team at the time and during his time over here. Wonderful. Richard, that concludes another session, another podcast for this week. So if you like our podcast, it would be great if you could subscribe to it on your favorite platform. Leave us a comment via your platform as well. And if you want to talk to us via email, you can send us an email. The email address is talktous@rbledglobaltracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Our username is @podcast_RBL. This has been Richard Mario from RBLE Global Tracks. We come to you straight from the heart of Leipzig. And all we need to say now to you is thank you for listening and auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs!